All righty. Today we have on Judge Geisler, Judge Lee Harrell, and Walter Midkiff. Sir, how are you?
We're doing great.
Doing well.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can speak for both me and Ethan. It's an honor to speak with y'all today. So, y'all run the recovery court,
Right.
the local recovery court. Can you talk about how that kind of started?
We were tasked by the Supreme Court of Virginia 8 years ago, 2018. They wanted our courts to start what they were calling drug courts. And that was, I think it was out of response, realizing that with our meth problems and addictions, that people just weren't getting help. So we had to do something different. Judge Harrell and I have been on the bench together for years. He sits in Grayson, Bland, and Giles County. I sit in Carroll County. And most of the drug courts are done individually, meaning you do your own drug court with your own people. Well, we were talking, and as Lee will tell you in a minute, we both weren't real thrilled about doing it. We thought, well, I don't know how successful this is going to be. So we got our heads together, as we called each other and said, you know what, Carroll and Grayson have always had a connection with so much in common that we should do a joint one.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, two heads are better than one. We get along real well together, and it just was a natural fit. So that's how we started it, and it started May of 2018. So we've been doing it that long. So that's.
I think we were the first that was more than one jurisdiction.
Right.
Most of them are just the county.
Right, yeah.
You know, and I have another one that I do in Giles County, and that's it. But we wanted to work together. Thought it'd be fun. And like he said, it's, you know, these two counties, the twin counties.
Right.
And then you got the city in between. It just made sense.
Yeah. Now, did these programs exist in Northern Virginia for a longer period of time? Or?
You know, the very first one was actually in Bristol.
Okay.
But they did, I think, start, they were more popular down that way because, as you all know, all the money flows down there, and all the resources flow down there, and it's a lot easier for them to put things like this together because they have economic resources that we don't have.
Yes. And how did you get started with recovery fitness? Where did that connection come in?
That's Lee's baby.
Okay.
And I'll brag on him a little bit because our recovery court and his recovery court in Giles incorporates the whole fitness part of it. Yeah. And in my opinion, it's probably the key to our success is that component. And Judge Harrell started that with Walter and Giles first and started down here. We did this without that component for what, 2 years?
At least
2 years.
Longer than that.
And it was so funny because, and Judge Harrell will tell you this too, we'd have to go in the meeting and say, well, who's this, who's that? Because we meet every 2 weeks, our formal court, every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and every 2 weeks. And we have about 20 participants between both of them. But, you know, you forget names, you forget, you know, and it's hard to, the one successful part about the fitness component is, as you guys might have seen tonight, you know, everybody gets to know each other. You joke around. There's a camaraderie about it, and you get close to people. And I will tell you that probably a lot of jurisdictions who have their recovery courts or drug courts, they don't like that. They like to keep that distance. We don't.
Yeah.
We think that's a key component to helping get to know people and them trusting us and making it successful.
Is there any negative aspects to building those relationships with the offenders?
I mean, there are times when, you know, we have ethics that we're required to, ethics code that we're required to follow as judges, and I mean, I'd say that this project, what we're doing here, probably gets as close to the line as the Supreme Court would like us to get without crossing over it, because we really form these connections that you all saw tonight, which that's very unusual for a judge to be spending time with a defendant. So that sometimes has been an issue where when someone's gotten in trouble within our group and we've had to make tough decisions, we've actually gone to other judges and had them come in from our circuit, Judge Turk, for instance, to come in and handle that case. If someone gets in trouble and gets thrown out of here,
Right.
and they've got to be sentenced, and it's somebody that he and I've gotten to be friends with them.
Right, sure.
We don't feel comfortable sentencing them because it's not fair to the Commonwealth or maybe to that person, because your emotions get kind of tied up. So if we feel that's the case, we'll go and ask another judge in this circuit who's not involved to kind of step in and handle the case from there. But we try not to do that too often. We've had to do it a few times.
We're pretty successful. I mean, I think we've been doing it, like I said, a while now, and we've never run the numbers, but I would say 85, 95% success rate. Awesome. When somebody messes up and we meet on Tuesday and we have to, hand down some sanctions, you're going back to jail for a couple weeks, and you have to pull that hat off, which is everybody getting together, working out and pushing each other. Now you've got to put your judge hat on, but I think all the participants, they understand that, at least most of them, and they accept that, and they want to do well, and they see that you're invested in them, and that they see that we want them to do well, so they accept that, and they're real successful. But to me, it's worth it all to get close to them, because you're helping people get their families back and get off an addiction and get another addiction, which is health kick. So
Absolutely.
Did anyone explain to y'all how recovery court works?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
I was going to ask when a defendant is eligible for the recovery program.
Anyone who's been charged with a nonviolent felony that is in some way related to substance use disorder is eligible.
Okay.
So the vast majority of the time it's going to be possession or possibly distribution. But there could be other property crimes that somebody might be involved in. The Commonwealth's attorney, the prosecutor, decides who comes in.
Okay.
And we take a plea, but we don't find them guilty. Instead, we put them in this program for 18 months, and they go through very rigorous staging in the program. And if they successfully complete it, then their charges can be dismissed when they complete all of the program. And included in that is heavy-duty monitoring. They're drug tested multiple times a week. They have an app on their phone where their location is monitored all the time. They have community service obligations. They have treatment obligations through the Community Services Board to work on their addiction. And then they have to be here with us at Recovery Fitness every Thursday night. And I'll let Walter kind of explain how that all came to pass and why it came to pass.
As far as the fitness component went, Judge Harrell and I, we've worked out together for years.
Yeah.
And coming out of COVID, he said was looking for something to bring his group together. And he knew that I was a fan of fitness. I taught physical education for a dozen years. I was a high school coach. I'm a CrossFit certified level 2 instructor. And he just said, hey, would you come lead us in a workout one day? So I did. We came and we worked out and we had a good time. He said, would you come do it again? Sure. So we just kind of snowballed it from there, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And finally, we decided that this is really helping these folks out long term. So we wanted to keep it going. So I quit my job. I formed a nonprofit, and this is what I do now. So I do recovery fitness for multiple locations all over the state.
how many locations are you doing now, I guess?
We're up to 6 now.
Yeah.
With County Recovery Court, Giles County, here in Twin Counties. I teach a class at Whitfield Community College. I teach one at Emory and Henry Community College.
You mentioned treatment earlier. Is that through medication-assisted therapy?
That's a very good question. We don't have anyone right now that is utilizing medically assisted treatment. Our folks in this particular recovery court aren't utilizing that. It's not the treatment modality for the local community services board. In my other court, it is utilized. So we don't prevent it, but it's quite controversial.
Yeah.
that aspect of it.
That's what I was wondering.
So it's we've been pretty successful without it here, to be honest. But it's not something that's a bar to someone coming in. If someone is utilizing that course, we wouldn't prevent them from coming in.
Sure.
Can you touch on the benefits of physical fitness during recovery?
I can tell you that for me personally, I know that if I don't keep mind, body, and spirit in a balance, then things are going to get out of whack for me. And that it's critical for my mental health to be physically healthy. And I noticed up in Giles, the courtroom is up on the second floor, and people would come in for court, for recovery court, completely out of breath from walking up one flight of stairs. And I just had a feeling that there was that was missing. And so, I turned to Walter here, and he helped develop the program. But, one of the remarkable things about it isn't so much the physical fitness aspect, but that it's brought all of us together. And I'll speak for Judge Geisler, but he'll probably tell you more. It's just been transformative for me in my job, because the job that we do is all about human misery. Nobody's happy in the courtroom. And knowing, it's just sort of a grind that'll bring you down as a judge. And getting to come in here and get to know these people and help these folks and work with them, understand their struggles, it's remarkable, and it's really given new life to my career.
Of course, absolutely.
There's no question about it. We keep saying that we need to take pictures of these folks when they first come in.
Right.
Jason throwing up the first day, he was in the bushes.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, I don't know if you noticed it, real tall guy, real lean, sprinting around here. First time he worked out, it looked like he was going to die. And then to watch these people, they come in this program and they're broken. They don't know what they're doing. They come in here like a deer with headlights. And to see them grow and get some sort of physical conditioning going and some discipline, and they're like new people. There was one lady here tonight. She works for Mount Rogers, Casey, I believe. And you just wouldn't believe how she's changed. She's gotten her child back. And like what he said with your job, I was telling my daughters, I said, the only reason we exist is because people can't solve their problems. And they come to court, and that's where that's our job. And, usually one or both sides unhappy with what you do. Well, this is exactly opposite. You're helping people get their lives back together. They're getting their families back together. They've been estranged from their parents or their brothers or sisters and children. And they come out of here and they've got it all together. And for the most part, they keep that going. I'll go to Food Line and shop and see somebody's in a recovery court 2 years ago, and it's like, hey, Judge, how's it going? And I'm like, well, man, I can tell just looking at them, they're doing great. So it's incredibly satisfying from a job perspective.
Absolutely.
Is this a program that you would like to see expanded to more counties throughout the state?
I think the Supreme Court wants they're encouraging. I don't know if it's mandatory at this point, but I think they want all the circuit courts to have they're called our specialty dockets, specialty courts. But I think there's a real push to happen. There's no guidelines for us on how to do this. It's they said do it, and so we got together and we all met in a room at the courthouse here in Galax, and we've just tried to figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
The cycle of incarceration and probation for substance use disorder does not work. And then, I'm a former prosecutor. Hard-boiled, lock them up and hang them high was my motto. But I slowly came to realize that it was just a giant waste of resources, taxpayer dollars. It's $36,000 a year to incarcerate someone. And when we were putting them in and not getting any treatment, they were just rolling right back out as soon as they were done and repeating the cycle over and over and over and over again. We have people that have been doing this for 30 years, most of their adult life, some of them even from when they were juveniles.
And then their children were doing it.
Yeah, passing this along to their children. So it sounds good, just lock them up. Just lock them up. It sounds good, but it doesn't do any good in the end, and it really just creates the problem that we see around us now. Just the vast addiction problem we have here in Southwest Virginia. And so this was an effort to try and change things and to throw out the rule book and do things differently.
I'm thinking in my mind, and there's many, and Judge Harrell can say this too, of people that we would see over the years. They would come back. You'd see them, and I know a young lady in my mind right now. I'd see her time and time, and her grandmother would come, and you just get disheartened, and it was a cycle. Well, she came into our program, and she graduated last year. She's doing fine, and it's so nice to see those people do that. And they would tell you, I think they would tell you that, but for the program, it's really helped set them on a new path, and they've got a new life, and it's working good for them. They have their troubles, but at least it gives them a shot.
Absolutely.
Is the fitness part of your recovery court unique to the Twin Counties, or do you also practice it in Giles?
He does.
We do have a Giles. Walter comes up there
Okay.
on Mondays and Wednesdays and does it with that crowd.
And is this bi-weekly?
Every
We do
week.
this just Thursday nights.
Okay.
Here. Yeah, we'd love to do more, and we're hoping to expand more. And I should point out to your listeners so they understand this is completely funded by the Opioid Abatement Authority, which this was a giant 49 state lawsuit against the manufacturers of opioids that caused what is referred to as the opioid crisis. The settlement was massive. Virginia got $1 billion, as I understand it. Does that sound right? And there's still more coming in. And that's been divided up amongst the localities. And we have used that money to fund this program.
But before, it wasn't funded at all.
Yeah, I mean, before we just
and this
did
is
it,
only
yeah.
the last couple
Yeah.
of years.
And
Before, when the Supreme Court said do it, they didn't say here's your bunch of money to
Right.
do it.
No,
it was
no.
everybody was
Right.
volunteered.
Yeah.
We
I
did
mean,
it, and
yeah.
it was just part of what we did, and that was okay. But
we've been able to rent this church hall to work out in, and we bought a lot of equipment. We got an attic full of equipment up here that we use, and that's all from money from the opioid manufacturers. There's no tax dollars at work here. And that's really sweet justice to be able to use that money to fund assisting these folks.
Absolutely.
I have a question for Walter.
Yes.
Today in the workout, we saw a lot of functional fitness activities, so the overhead carries, the pushes, and the push-ups. Do you prioritize functional fitness over just strength? And we saw a lot of cardio too. Do you try to incorporate that?
First thing I look at is something that's constantly varied. We do a different workout every single day.
Yeah.
So we do strength stuff, we do speed stuff, we do functional fitness, something different every day.
Okay.
Life is going to throw different things at them every single day, and they have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So if they come in here and they don't know what's going to happen, but they're going to do whatever it's in front of them, they're going to learn to do that when they're on the streets too, in their everyday lives. Second thing is functional fitness. Yeah, well, we want to do things that they can do long term. Standing up, reaching overhead, squatting, things like that. We have to do those for a lifetime. And it helps them in their job, it helps them at home, things like that. Third part of it is high intensity. We get the heart rate up.
Yeah.
That's where we really see the benefits to their recovery, to their mental health. Your brain's looking for dopamine. That's really all it wants all the time. It's finding the way to feel good. And they were going for substances to feel good.
Yeah.
And now they're looking for something else. And you do a high intensity workout, your brain releases dopamine and you feel better. After you might not have felt good during that workout, but afterwards you felt better. And they're seeing the benefits of that. They're learning, hey, I can get those chemicals released in my brain without having to go to outside sources just by working out.
Have you seen an increase in people working out outside of the program since joining?
Yeah, I'll get pictures of people, they've picked up dumbbells at yard sales and they started working out at homes. They ask for me to give them workouts to do at home. They'll send me pictures of them working out with their kids or running, or they're always telling me what, something that they did at home because they see the benefit of it.
That's great.
Now, Judge, you read from a book at the end of the workout. Can you talk about that a little bit?
The Daily Stoic by Ron Holiday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Stoicism just really lends itself so well to addiction recovery. The idea, and this is just something we preach to them about, you really only have the freedom of making decisions about how you're going to react to things. And so that's just been a big frontispiece of what we do in here. And Stoicism, I mean, I've learned a lot from studying Stoicism. And so we tried to incorporate that in here. But we pick a lot of different things to talk about at the end. We sort of try to wrap up like you all saw with the circle and just share, something that's hopefully meaningful and uplifting. But a lot of it does come from Ryan Holiday and Stoicism.
Yeah, it's a good source.
Yeah. I mean, I plagiarize wherever possible.
Another aspect was you asked if anybody had any news to share. You often see people interconnecting their stories from the past week and talking about that.
All the time. We hear all kinds of stories from them, and you didn't hear many tonight, but most of the time it's how much time they've got clean. They keep track of those numbers, and that's always a source of pride for them and for us. So we're always happy to hear that. We see families reunited. You saw several kids here tonight.
Yeah.
You saw people bring their children here. Their kids love to come. I think their kids enjoy it more than they do a lot of times. But we encourage that, and we get those stories from them. And I don't want to paint too rosy a picture. We also have failures in here quite often because that's the nature of substance use disorder. It just it's you fall down 6 times and get up 7, and plenty of them are on number 6.
And we tell them that, when they first come in, one of the first things we both say is, we don't expect perfection. And I tell them when I take up their plea, I said, if you could have beat this thing, you'd have done it by now by yourself. So we're here to help and give tools and help you get through the addiction. The sad part is a lot of these folks, it's generational. They don't grow up in an atmosphere where they've had people to give them guidance or show them hardly anything. And that's not their fault. And so, when they come into this program and they start seeing positive results for themselves, they're really excited to share those successes with you. And the more successful they become, the more addicted they become to that success. So that's really, really exciting for us to see that happen, and just a good feeling all the way around.
And who is allowed to come to this program?
I don't know if we...
You mean like
to get in
who
the
comes
program?
into the recovery court, or who comes to recovery fitness?
The recovery fitness.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody can come. We let anybody in here.
More the merrier.
And we've had all kinds of dignitaries, former senators, the clerk of the court. Clerk of the court was here tonight.
Chief of police.
Chief of police comes. Yeah, I mean, we've had all sorts of people show up. Up in Giles, we had 2 federal judges work out with us last week.
That's awesome.
So we've had really great success with the community supporting this.
And I'll touch on an aspect too. I said, you guys are such a wonderful asset to this program, just like Sarah June, and getting the message out about what we're doing, because there's such a negative context. And I'm guilty of that too, because you talk about addiction and these things, and you're like, how do you help these people? Well, if we're all honest, either someone in our extended family or someone in our extended friend network, they have someone suffering from some sort of addiction.
Yeah.
If we're truly honest, we know that. And so I think the more that people see what's going on here, they've been very sympathetic to what we're trying to do. I mean, I've not had anybody, say, well, you're just wasting your time. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are really positive about the program.
Yeah, awesome.
So what are your goals for the future for this program?
Well, Judge Harrell keeps talking about retiring, so, so I hope he doesn't do that. But I don't know. What do you think? I just wish we had more people to be able to help more people. Sometimes they feel like it's a drop in the bucket, but it's worth it.
I mean, there's so many people suffering out. Right out in this. I'm looking at Galax right now, and there's just so many people suffering. If we can bring more people in and come up with a new way to help people, a different way to help people, that's great. So keep growing. We want to keep growing this program. It doesn't have to be just centered on the judiciary.
No,
You
no,
know?
it
I
could
mean,
be. Those people have an incentive to come do this.
Right.
And a lot of them come in because, and you'll ask them, why do you want to be in this? Well, I didn't want to go back to jail. But after they've been in it, that's not everybody.
Yeah, we've got a guy in here, Freddie. He just comes.
Yeah, he's
probably
at the
been here
Hope House,
like
or-
for several months now.
Yeah.
He just comes.
He's not part of our recovery court.
No.
He just knows about us and
He
he
just
comes
shows
over.
up. Yeah, I mean it's a good workout.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
Oh,
free
yeah.
workout. It's a good
It's,
workout. You all did it.
It was hard.
It's good, and so everybody's recovering from something somehow, some way. So it doesn't matter what you're here for or why you're here. We just want you to come in and have a good workout with us.
Yeah.
Everybody's. And I hope your listeners will show up. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. Spread the word.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, all three of you, for your time today. Before we wrap up, is there anything that we've neglected to mention or that you want to bring up specifically?
I think that I really want to emphasize how important it is that Walter and Judge Harrell have integrated the physical aspect into our recovery court.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't tell you that, but I was a latecomer to the workouts with them. But I think that is really the key to our success in this recovery court.
Mm.
And it's like Judge Harrell said before, it brings a camaraderie and people get to know each other and they get to know that we are genuinely interested in helping them in their recovery. But we don't do that at drug court on Tuesdays. We do it primarily here on Thursday nights. And it's a lot of fun. I get to know these people and I see them after they're done and they just kind of become family,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I have anything to add other than, if anyone that's listening knows someone who's struggling or is struggling, there are a lot of resources out there. This is one. But reach out, get help.
Tell them to come
There's
work
another
out
way to-
with
There's
us.
another way to live. Yeah, come work out with us.
Yeah.
There's another way to live.
I guess the biggest for me is we're going to find what works for somebody to find their recovery. It might be fitness, it might be art, it might be NA meetings. The biggest thing I've learned that if you want to help somebody with their recovery, it's connection. That's where people recover, is in connections. And that's what's happening in here. We're just connecting with them. And it shows. And it works.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you guys
Yeah, thank
for,
you.
Absolutely.
for
Yeah, thank you.
giving
Thank
us
you
some
for being
exposure.
interested.
It's worth $1 million, and thank you so much for doing what you do.
Yeah, thank you for meeting.
Thank y'all for
Means a
coming.
lot to
We
us.
really appreciate it.
Come back and visit and
Yeah,
work out with us.
Definitely.
Thank you.